All right, so I thought this was a pretty interesting challenge to try to accomplish here. Beating half cash mode and chimps mode pretty much combined at the same time. So in chimps mode, you can't have any income, any like insta monkeys, that kind of stuff. Plus, you only have one life. And of course, half cash mode, you get half the cash. I mean, the income doesn't really matter because you can't get it anyway. But it still ended up being a somewhat interesting challenge. I did this on logs, which is the easiest map. You can see it's just absurdly long. So many different back and forths that it allows you to get away with so many things. Just for the start, went with a dart monkey with sharp shots just to beat round four. And then I used Geraldo as the hero to kind of cheese the later rounds, even though honestly wasn't really necessary. This map is so long that like the beginning rounds can take a while just watching the red balloon go all the way around the track before it loops back in range of the dart monkey again. But yeah, I think this shows just how easy the game can be when you have extremely easy maps. Because I can't even beat like chimps on a lot of the expert maps, but I can beat half cash mode chimps on these beginner maps. It might have been a more fun challenge to try to do it on perhaps not the easiest map in the game. It might even be possible on an intermediate map, I think, and that could be a pretty cool challenge to try. But I just wanted to see if it was possible first. And it turns out, as you can probably guess, it is actually very possible and honestly not that difficult. I thought it would be much more difficult than it was, but like beating an advanced maps on chimps is harder than beating half cash mode on beginner, at least in my opinion. Went with the darts, what are they called? Shooty turrets to start. They're just pretty good as well. If you want to beat half cash mode on like most maps, I don't actually know what the best strat is. I've been trying to use like tack shooter, maybe just get like a wizard. I don't know. There's probably a lot of ways you can do it. You can even use the sub. Yeah, there's some pretty interesting strategies. But the mid game, I think for this one, I went with a lot of tack shooters just for like the Moab damage, and then I did get one wizard, one arcane spike. It's probably my most used tower, just because it's like I don't know, it's really good at Moab damage. It's not bad at popping like grouped balloons. Usually just get like a cluster bomb for like 63 or something, or recursive, and that kind of just works out really well. It does kind of struggle against purples, but not usually too much of a problem because you just have other things pop those. This video is at 3 times speed, by the way, just kind of speeding through it. Because honestly, I don't know if this challenge was that interesting. It sounded interesting when I first mentioned it, but it turns out you can beat it pretty much first try, and it's not very difficult. And yeah, so that's pretty much all. There's not really anything to worry about. Like, I don't know, camo purples, I guess, is kind of a problem, but I can use Geraldo and just kind of cheese it a bit with the camo potion. You can even see, like, this map is so long that I probably didn't even need to glue the Moab there. That, like, one arcane spike and, like, one sniper can pretty much do it, which is crazy, because, like, on some maps, I mean, it just wouldn't even be close. It does, like, no damage. There's the cluster bomb. Get that up. There is some camo purples, but I did have this dart monkey that was used early on for the 20 round 24 green camo, so that guy was able to pop the camo purples. This game's great though. I'm probably gonna like I don't know. I like doing these random challenges. Might do more in the future. Just come up with some. There's also like the challenge editor. Made a bunch of challenges that way. There's the tack shooter, although I got it pretty early. I also went for discount village, which is allowed in chimps, of course, to try to get just save any amount of cash, and it saves quite a bit trying to get this MIB. It saves money for tier 3 and less, and I think MIB might be like one of the most expensive tier 3 upgrades. I haven't really thought about it. Probably not, compared to like Super Monkey, I guess. That's got to have the most expensive. But still, 15% discount on like it goes from 8,100 to like 6,800 or something like that. So right away, just like buying the two upgrades, I think you get like all your money back from the bottom path village just buying one MIB. So anything else is just extra savings, which is pretty nice. The camo leads. It turns out that the recursive wasn't in range, so I just bought the extra range for that. Yeah, so what else is there to mention? I guess random thing that I saw recently, Feels Good Man, a documentary about Pepe the Frog. I'm sure if you spent like any time on Twitch, you've probably seen Pepe before, but it does require like 7TV or BTTV or Franker Face Z, any like emote extension, but there's so many Pepe emotes, and there's so many good ones as well. This round was actually kind of close, round 64. Don't know if I needed a glue, but just decided to play it safe. This is a black border, didn't have to exit out or anything like that, so pretty nice there. But yeah, it was a good documentary. I would recommend it. I did not know about the origins of Pepe for the most part. I think the only thing I knew is that maybe it came from like a comic, but I did not know the person who created it, and also what happened to Pepe. Like, it became a hate symbol that was used on 4chan a lot, and that, I mean, that's just did not know about that whatsoever, because I just associate Pepe with Twitch. I mean, there's no mention of Twitch in the actual documentary, but you know, maybe one day, like, Twitch will be big enough to have a documentary. You can watch it for free, by the way. It's just have to Google it. Would recommend it. Yeah, and so it says round 80, but I actually have to beat 100 rounds. I thought round the 90s would be where it would be especially difficult, but it really didn't get too much harder. I'm really like downplaying the challenge here. This is definitely one you can try for yourself if you want to. It's not too bad. Got the overdrives. One thing that I think is really good is just overdrive with the Geraldo sharpening stone. The sharpening stone only lasts 15 rounds, but the upgraded one, it gives +1 damage and +1 pierce. So those are both amazing on the tag shooter, since that's usually its weakness. It only has like 1 pierce and 1 damage. So you're pretty much doubling both of those stats and making an absolutely amazing tower. Also with the primary training from the village, which gives, I think, more pierce, projectile speed, and range. It really buffs the tack shooter so much. And then I get the embrittlement ice tower, which means that whenever the Moab things are in range, they take +1 damage, I believe, as well. So we could be dealing triple damage via the overdrive tack shooters. And that's just really good for Moab popping power for relatively cheap. Don't have to really save up too much money. The only thing I really had to save up for was the arcane spike, and honestly, probably not even necessary. What I'm struggling now is against like the super ceramics. Post round 80, the ceramics change, no longer spawn 2 rainbows, it just spawns 1. But the outer layer is just much stronger, so it can be kind of tough to break. And I guess I was just relying on the tack shooters for that, because the recursives, I guess they get kind of worse, since they're really good at like grouped popping power, but post round 80, you don't have to worry too much more about like grouped popping power, but I guess they're still pretty helpful. They're just overall a really insanely good tower, I think. Probably, I don't know, maybe one of the best in the game if I had to guess. Recursives, or just like cluster bombs in general. Kind of insane. Went with the glue, Moab glue, just to slow things down. Plus, you know, it's within range of the primary training for some extra pierce and stuff. That's really helpful. Was that a random lag spike right there? Ah, well, not a problem. And then DDTs, then not a problem because I got the MIB up, and so the tack shooters and everything can hit them. And then just going to finish it off with some Moab presses, really good support towers. You know, I didn't even notice this until now, but I completely skipped an Alchemist. What? Okay, I actually just forgot about Alchemist. That's kind of strange. I definitely could have like alch buffed the tack shooters, I think. That's another way to get some extra damage. Could have quadrupled its damage. So that was probably a mistake. So it would be interesting to see how long you can survive in half-cash chimps. It's pretty difficult to survive past round 100. Like round 101 is really easy, but then round 102, I think I even include it just at the end of this video, but I shouldn't spoil what round I die on. You'll get to see for yourself, but I did use the genies on just rounds 99 and 100 here. Don't think it was necessary whatsoever, and kind of a waste of $4,000 if I was actually trying to survive in free play, because I definitely would have used the genies here. But I used these, I don't even know what they are, totems, I guess? Yeah, that's got to be what they are. They can actually push back Moabs when they're upgraded, and I've just spammed Dragon's Breath thing on everything, trying to use the Maelstroms, but apparently I leaked some lives, so technically on Chimps I would be dead here, but luckily I actually die anyway to all these fortified ZOMGs, and there we go. That's it. Thanks for watching. See ya.